Hello everyone and welcome. Great to see you all here today with me on Storytime 365. My name is Barbara and today I have the funny story called Hibernation Hotel. What does a bear do when he just can't fall asleep? This is a book that's been written by John Kelly with pictures by Laura Brenla. It was way past hibernation time, but Bear just could not sleep. His cave, as usual, was much too crowded. Raccoon snored, Beaver fidgeted, and Skunk, quite frankly, was a little bit smelly. "I've had enough of being treated like a big furry mattress," Bear grumbled. So he got up, made a phone call, and booked a room at a fancy hotel. "Ah," said Bear as he drove away, "peace and quiet at last." The hotel was huge and fancy, just like the front desk clerk's mustache. Bear tried not to stare at it as he checked in. "Would Sir like a wake-up call?" asked the front desk clerk. "Yes, please," said Bear. "March 1st. The bellman showed Bear to his room. It was bigger than his entire cave. "This is the life!" exclaimed Bear, bouncing up and down on the bed. "And look at these snacks," Bear cheered. He didn't know which one to eat, so he ate them all, then washed everything down with a huge gulp of water. Bear used every bottle of shampoo and all of the hot water too. Then he dried his fur, brushed his teeth, and flopped exhausted into bed. "Perfect," he yawned as he closed his eyes, and boom biddy boom boom, thump thump thump, didn't fall asleep. "A party?" groaned Bear. "This is worse than Raccoon snoring." He stomped down the hallway. "Would you mind keeping the noise down?" he growled ever so politely. "I am trying to hibernate." The other guests were quick to quiet down, so Bear stumbled back to bed. But no matter how much he tried, Bear just could not sleep. "Humph," he moaned. "This bed is too squishy for a big-boned bear." So he flung the blanket and pillows onto the floor and crawled under them. "Ah, toasty," sighed Bear, snuggling in. He grew toastier, then roastier, until... "Oh no," he cried. "Now I'm too hot." He threw off the blanket and pillows and opened the window to let the cool night air ruffle his fur. Soon Bear wasn't hot anymore, but he wasn't sleepy either. "Maybe a little TV will help me sleep," he sighed and began to click through the channels. There was nothing on but wildlife shows, and for some reason, they made Bear feel sad. So he turned the TV off and flopped back into bed. Bear lay in the dark, wide awake, and all alone. "I just don't get it," he huffed. "I'm in a luxurious bed with no snoring, fidgeting, or skunky smells, and I still can't sleep." Deep in the pit of Bear's tummy, there was a strange, hollow, empty feeling. And right then, Bear knew exactly why he couldn't sleep. "I'm hungry," he howled. "A bear can't be expected to sleep on an empty tummy." Bear called room service. "I'd like to order the menu, please," he said. "All of it." A few minutes later, there was a knock on the door. The bellman wheeled in the cart. Bear licked his lips and lifted the largest cover. But instead of a fabulous feast, he found his furry friends. "What are you doing here?" bellowed Bear. "We missed you," they cried. "We can't get to sleep without you." Soon Bear was buried beneath a pile of his sleepy friends, and even though Raccoon snored, Beaver fidgeted, and Skunk was still a little bit smelly, Bear didn't mind. He was finally fast asleep. Thank you for joining me for today's story. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't already done so, please remember to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you tomorrow for another story. Bye for now.